Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. North and South American, all the ships at sea. Let's go to press.
That it is easier for a teenager to buy a Glock than get his hands on a computer or even a book.
I think the media is among the most dishonest groups of people I've ever met.
One of the things people love about you is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides.
What Boehner is angry with is the American people holding him accountable.
If I become president, oh, do they have problems? They're going to have such problems.
Well, I don't know why that's funny.
Hello, Peter Robinson here. This is Ricochet podcast number 311. James Lilacs is on vacation. Sitting in for James will be Larry Kudlow. Joining me, and as always, Rob Long. Our guest will be the Wall Street Journal's Jason Riley. Let's have ourselves a podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ricochet podcast. This is number 311. 311 Ricochet podcasts. We are coming to you from Ricochet.com, the fastest growing, most interesting, most civil conversation on the center right. Ricochet 3.0, I should say, because we've got a brand new site with lots of new features, so check it out. We are brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once. Watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. Also brought to you by our friends at The Great Courses Plus. To start your free trial today, sign up now at thegreatcoursesplus.com/ricochet. And by The Great Courses Plus, sign up today. And as one of our podcast listeners, you'll immediately get a 1-month free trial to start watching as many lectures as you want. We are also brought to you by our friends at Harry's Shave. For a great shave at an even greater price, go to harrys.com and enter the coupon. And of course, I said we are brought to you by Ricochet.com. I am Rob Long, one of the co-founders of Ricochet.com. On the line with me from Palo Alto, California, is Peter Robinson. Peter, how are you?
I'm very well, Rob. All the better for our new Ricochet site that we have just
I know, it's cool, isn't it?
Trundled out for public inspection. It's very cool, I think. And by the way, whereas whenever a site updates itself or does a refresh or brings out a new X.0 version, as we have done ourselves once before, people always say, it's just natural to say, no, I like the old one better, bring it back. And That is not happening this time. I think I saw and heard a total of two and a half complaints. The half complaint sort of liked it, but there was one little feature. But that's out of thousands of people and hundreds of comments saying, this is pretty cool, it's working well, this is an improvement. Remarkable.
Look, it's like it's a little bit more social, a little bit more connectivity minded. You can start your own groups. You can do a lot more stuff. The idea is that there's also the idea behind Ricochet that if you really want to have a conversation between and among people in the center right, it's easier to do it when you know. It's easier to do it when it's not on Facebook. Put it that way. But we are about to have one of those civil conversations between and among the center right with our old friend who's sitting in the James Lilacs chair. It's a small chair. I mean, it's a big chair to fill. He's a slender man. But I would like to introduce our old friend all the way from New York City, Larry Kudlow. Larry, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Loved you stumbling through that opening. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm not a professional, Larry. I just kind of this podcast is supposed to sound real.
I can help you with some TV training. I don't know. Podcast, we'll have to see.
The whole idea is transparency. We're trying to make it seem like what it is, which is sort of a conversation.
You have succeeded.
Thank you, sir. You're in New York?
I am.
What's the well, we should just get right into it. Because we were off last week. So we didn't have a chance to talk about the 4th of July present. I didn't really know we were exchanging gifts on 4th of July, but FBI Director James Comey gave a fantastic gift to Hillary Clinton. And I sort of expected him – I mean, I don't know why. In my fantasy, I thought it would be more lingering, but I guess I should have predicted this, right, Peter?
More lingering. What, the effects of the non-indictment?
The effects of the non-indictment on on even her supporters, because it really did seem like except for the non-indictment part, a fairly ferocious.
It was completely right.
Particulars.
So we could talk about James Comey and whether he did the right thing or not, because what he did was in public go through particular by particular by particular, where she was. I think the term, she wasn't grossly negligent. Grossly negligent is the legal term that he bent himself into the shape of a pretzel to say the same thing but not use those words. And it was clear that she had told lie after lie. He contradicted her account on point after point and got it all the way up to, and yet we're not going to indict her. As if to say, look, she's running for president. You want her? You indict her. You indict her at the ballot box. And the effect well, we could disagree perhaps about whether this is the effect of what took place last week, but something has happened. Donald Trump has just had the best polling week head-to-head against Hillary Clinton in the campaign so far. Rasmussen reports, granted, tends often to favor Republicans in its results. Nevertheless, this is an unambiguous result. We have Rasmussen reports out this morning. Trump 44%, Clinton 37%. That is Donald Trump having spent almost no money, 7 points ahead of a woman who's been running for president for 20 years, had all the unions behind her, had the Democratic Party behind her, had money behind her, had the press behind her. Donald Trump is 7 points up. Larry?
Well, look, yes, all that is true. Rasmussen's not a bad poll. You got to look at all the polls together. But it is interesting. The New York Times poll shows the same thing. They're now even. Hillary was way ahead, so she's dropped there. The Q poll, Quinnipiac poll, which is a highly regarded poll, also shows the same results. And by the way, the Q poll shows that Republican Senate candidates in marginal states are doing very well across the board. And I think coming back to your initial point about Mr. Comey and so forth, look, he didn't indict her for sure, but he did everything but. The whole thing is around extremely careless. And as Peter mentioned, he went through a laundry list of items where her statements were at loggerheads with the truth. And that was a killer. And I always thought it'd be a killer. I felt that it would really hurt her in the polls, and it has. I didn't think it would help Trump in the polls. I think other things are helping Trump in the polls. But she went down. The other one is this whole, horrible shooting tragedies with the police. I mean, Hillary is now basically forced to take defense of Black Lives Matter. She's calling the cops racist. She's not defending the blue line in any way, shape, or form. I think that's killing her. Trump came out of the box very fast on this, defending the cops, talking about being the candidate of law and order. Public safety is now going to be a huge, huge, huge issue, as it should be. She's in deep trouble on this. Trump is all over it. And in my opinion, right now, Hillary Clinton is a stock looking for a bottom.
That's good. I was going to put it. All right. Well, I mean, I think we all know my position here on Trump, but I mean,
I've forgotten. It's been 2 weeks, Rob. What is your position on Trump?
It's the same. It's the same it's always been. A queasy feeling deep in the pit of my stomach. But just to be fair here, I mean, it was a bad week for Hillary Clinton, but it didn't seem to be. I mean, I know these polls you guys love. Let's hold on. There are a lot of polls that show the opposite. Don't you think it was a sign of that kind of flat-footed campaign he's running, that he spent the week that she was all but indicted by the FBI director defending a tweet and attacking Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Wait, that's another one. We didn't even include Ruth.
Well, no, that was
Ginsburg.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Ruth Bader Ginsburg is on the Trump payroll. I mean, look what she did. I guess I saw someplace this morning she's actually saying I shouldn't have said that. But I mean, this is left-wing wacko stuff from an elderly judge. I'm sorry about this because, I think down through the years she served the court very well. I don't agree with her, but she served the court well. But putting that aside, now she has basically reminded everybody of the whole issue of Supreme Court nominees and appointees. And, Trump has that list, a conservative list of whatever he's got, 9 or 10 names, which has been very well received among conservatives in the Republican Party and independents. So that's back on the table. She's in trouble. Trump's business about the Star, I mean, Abe Foxman of the Jewish Anti-Defamation League said there was no racial slur or religious slur regarding that. That's just media hype. The basic bread and butter stuff coming out here is law and order with the police. Okay, she basically lied throughout the personal server hearings, and the polls are picking this up. I don't think the polls have yet picked up the full flavor of Black Lives Matter. I think this is coming as the public ingests what Hillary has been saying. Look, people know that cops aren't perfect, okay? They get that. They also know, as Trump said, that cops are our last line of defense to protect civilization. Mm-hmm. And if you take a broad-based poll, you will see cops come out ahead every single time. Right. She is on the wrong side of that issue, guys.
And she's flipping the security issue. And here's what I mean by that. I'd like to hear if even Rob agrees. I must be right about it.
Or maybe just sign you're in trouble.
Flipping the security issue in the following sense. As I've read it, it's felt this way to me over the last 3 weeks or so. The strongest argument, an argument that was really kind of coalescing and I thought had real power against Donald Trump was, okay. Maybe he can pull his campaign together and begin to run a genuine presidential campaign. Straighten out his positions on the issues, do things that make him look presidential. But it's too late to make people feel at ease with him when it comes to the defense of the nation. The whole nuclear button question, Hillary Clinton, dislike her though you may, she's a stable person. She understands foreign policy. The country will be safe. She's not going to hit the nuclear button in an act of pique. And Donald Trump, who knows? But look at what has happened. We've been thinking about the security, the safety of the nation as regards foreign threats. But now look what has happened. The safety of the nation is now a question of our own cops. What happens here at home? And she has placed herself on the side of disorder. And Donald Trump, who did two things, one was to take a solid position, understand the political dynamics here, and place himself on the position of law and order and on the side of the cops immediately, but also recorded a video. You can find it on YouTube, shot up in his office in Manhattan with Manhattan in the background, that was very well written, beautifully dignified. You don't get any sense of heat. You don't get any sense of Donald appearing unreasonable or unstable. She looked that way this past week, and he looks like the calm one, the one who understands what you have to do to ensure the safety of the nation, and that is stick up for the police.
I think that's delusional. The idea that Donald Trump looks like the calm one in any exchange is ultimately going to be his problem. These little blips notwithstanding, that is an issue for this guy. Look, Hillary Clinton's a terrible candidate, and she's horrible, and she should have been indicted, and probably she should be wearing those garage door opener sized ankle bracelets under house arrest. That's, and it would be strange to think that even if she wins, that she has a security clearance. Anyone else in that position would have had that security clearance revoked. I was trying to imagine what it would be like to give her a presidential daily briefing when you were unable to, tell her to actually breach security. You'd have to explain it to her in charade style so that nobody was, giving secrets away. But
Rob, look what's happening though. I mean, all these measurements you're using, which are fair enough. I understand that, and I understand Mr. Trump has, shall we say, an up and down history, but Trump is coming off right now as the measured guy, and Hillary is coming off as the pillar-to-post person. And she is scrambling. I think Peter's exactly right. And the news coming out with respect to the private internet server, with respect to her response to the ghastly shootings going on, makes her look terrible. And she has no clear view. And her instincts seem very wrong. I want to stay with this law and order issue for another moment. The police in the United States, as I said earlier, are not perfect, but the public backs them by and large. They understand as the police chief of Dallas said. Wonderful guy.